right, we are back at it. Me, Joey B is here with us. Birthday, right?
No.
I'm making stuff up. What we got, week 8? Yeah, don't mind me, Joey. I've had a long week. I make stuff up. What we at, week 8? Week 8, right?
Yes, sir.
Finally here, end of the year. The football season flew by.
Flew by. What a great season it's been, right?
And a lot of competitive games. I mean, we got a lot of games to recap. Let's recap St. John's Prep and Catholic Memorial since we both were there for that one. Man, what a game in the rain.
Oh, the rain is an understatement. The pouring rain. A back and forth affair. I called it a roller coaster. It really was in that third quarter. Two of the top teams in the state, maybe the two best. And, Brian St. Pierre said it's how they practice, and that translated to the game. They play in those conditions. They practice defense. They practice all those things that contribute to the mental toughness aspect of it all. So Prep took care of business. What a day for Cam LaGrassa. And I actually asked Brian St. Pierre about Edwin Castro, and he said, he hung in there. He had a tough matchup, and he proved pivotal on the defensive side. So all good news for the Prep.
Definitely, and that game, it looked like it could have teetered either way in that first half, even for a little bit in the second half, because it still was like a one possession game. But those big play from Cam LaGrassa was really the first one from Merrick, the receiver. It was 4th and 19. When he got that touchdown pass. I think that one didn't get talked about as much as it should, but it was 4th and 19 on that one.
I know Cam LaGrassa's performance kind of overshadowed that, but at the end of the day, football is a game of inches, but at the same time, you can get big plays too, and that's exactly what happened Saturday. The 4th and 19, a 75-yard run. So, the Prep, I don't think that's luck though. I think they practiced that, and it comes down to execution, and they did.
Yeah, definitely. And this was one of those games they needed. I think people had questions about how good this team was or how good this team is. They had questions, and they were going to use this game as kind of like the stepping stool to see, are they really that good? And and as Coach St. Pierre said, we're a really good football team, and they showed it. So kudos to them on that. They're the number one team, ranked number 1 right now, undefeated. Other games that we got. Let's go to Thursday. Kip Academy. Man, these guys, they went down there or up there, whichever direction Haverhill is. Down there, up there, whatever. They went up there. This was a highly anticipated game. Teams with both identical records, and Kip just overpowered them. Their talent just overwhelmed Whittier Tech.
Two things I love from the Kip game. The first, another road win for the Panthers. I mean, they should really share the secret. How can you win so many road games? And then also, we know Moreno Castro and, a couple of those other guys, Chanel, Gutierrez, they're going to produce, but 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, not from those guys. I believe it was Gonzalez and Echeverra. I could be wrong, but big contributions all the way up and down, and that's what makes a good team great.
And defensively, too, you got to give their defense a lot of credit because they really took that double wing out. Whittier couldn't really get much going. And what I liked about their defense is a lot of open field tackles, a lot of tackles behind the line of scrimmage. They didn't really miss that many tackles. There was just a few times in the game where they busted coverage. But that happened like 1 or 2 times. But besides that, it was sound defensive football by the Panthers.
Maybe it's in the uniforms. I love
the black and pink. I love them. And I forget who I was talking to about this, but Mornell Castro. I told somebody he's a Division I football player. He is a Division I football player. That young man. He's got the speed of a Division I player. He got the athleticism of a Division I player. He's got the IQ of a Division I player, and he got the playmaking ability of a Division I player. I just say, if there's no Division I coaches knocking on Kip's door inquiring about him, there's a problem because that young man is special.
You said it right. IQ, skill, consistency. I'll also add, and I'm a UMass fan. I hope the Minutemen reach out.
They already got one KIPP player over there too. Then why not add another? Why not add another one? Kudos to them. They got a big one against Manchester Essex. If they win that one on Saturday, they outright win their conference. But if they lose, it'll be a three-way. It might be a three-way or a two-way tie. But that one should be a good one because their opponent is a really good opponent, Manchester Essex. Then we gotta go St. Mary's. Man, these guys, they just pulling out these tight games each week. Each week they're showing their maturity as a football team, and each week I'm more impressed with Maxwell Parent.
Oh, he's a star already, and like you said, they keep squeezing out these close games. That could be a coincidence once or twice, right? But once you start doing it 3, 4, 5 times, it's not luck at this point. St. Mary's is well coached. They have the right philosophies over there. So the Spartans are rebuilding in a way, but also just, what are they, 5-2? 5-2?
Oh yeah, 5-2, I believe. Yeah.
So St. Mary's is on a roll.
Doing that, and they're doing it at a time in the season where you have to position yourself for the postseason because you are going to be in these tight games at some point in the postseason, depending how further along you go each round. You're going to get into these tight games, and they've already shown they've got a knack for closing out games or just pulling out victories. And it could be a tight game or it could be a big blowout. So signs of
how young they are.
Signs of a team that knows how to win.
Absolutely, especially with how young they are, and I'm excited to see them tomorrow night for some Thursday night football. But I'm also excited to see them for the next 2 or 3 years too, because they're young.
And we're going to Lynn Classical. It was ugly out there. It was scoreless at halftime, but the Rams were able to pull it off. They got the 12-0 victory, setting themselves up for a huge matchup with Everett this Friday. But yeah, that rain was something else. I gotta understand why it was a 12-0 game in that weather.
I know it can be frustrating for both sides because you can't play the type of offense that you want to, especially Classical with its passing attack is really how the Rams thrive. But it came down to execution and who was going to step up, whether rain or shine. And it was Fassler and Vaughn. So Classical's deep, and they were the winning team.
And there are a lot of injuries, too. I think they had a couple injuries in their backfield, which caused Fassler to go at running back.
Yeah, and clearly he had no problem adjusting.
They pretty much we've been talking about it for the last couple weeks. This matchup with Everett is such a big matchup. This is for the GBL championship. I think the last time I looked at the rankings, they were at 18 or 19, I believe. So they got to win this one. They got to win this one to give themselves a chance to be one of those 16 teams in there. So it's I'll be there actually. Will you be? You going to go to that one?
My fellow reporter, Mark Aboyan, will be there. And I will say this about the Classical Everett game. I'm not going to pick who's winning yet. You'll have to read the football predictions in the paper first. But I think it's going to be a one-possession game.
The early predictions, one-possession game. All right, next up we got Lynn English. Lynn English went on the road. They got themselves a much-needed victory following the loss to Malden, I believe. Yeah, following the loss to Malden, they went on the road. Lambert Thomas, 3 touchdowns. English defense pulling up, holding Somerville to 6 points. It was just a team that needed to win, especially when you're coming down to this part of the season. You need a win because you don't want to close out in a bad way.
No, especially against the team that you beat last season. And like you mentioned, Lambert Thomas, multiple touchdowns. One was kind of a burst on a counter left where he got through a hole and just booked it. And then another one was kind of a 3-yard push. So he shows the speed, he shows the strength. Lambert Thomas is a real strong player here in the city of Lynn. And, Coach Anthony LaFrada told me it probably shouldn't have been as close as it was, but a win's a win. And what are you going to do? A win's a win, in my opinion.
Especially you're getting ready for senior night. Just get them guys. You get a win. You're feeling good coming into the week and have a good week of practice for the next game. So it's just good for those guys to get that win going into senior night. this Friday. But yeah, also Lindbergh, as far as the speed, I was teasing him about it. I won't, because he had a big run, could have had like a 90-yard touchdown run, or it was like 90 or 95-yard, and he got caught at the 5-yard line. I had to tease him about that because, like,
he did get caught on a 5-yard run. And then also, this is the second season in a row where the Bulldogs just haven't folded late in the season, and they pick up late season wins. So I like what they're doing over there, and it's going to take some time.
I will say this: it is easy to quit when things aren't going your way, and it is easy to just, be like, all right, our season's not going the way we want to. We could just pack it in. You can mentally check yourself out. But for all those guys at English, all those players, they haven't checked out. They still go out there and play hard, and they don't quit. So that's the biggest thing you could take away from them. You can't judge. I mean, you can't question their character or their heart or their willing to play, because there's a lot of players, if things were going the way it's going for them, that would quit and give up and just pack it in. But these guys have not. So they set themselves up to have a good senior night this Friday against Medford. And then last but not least, man, it was a tough one for Lynn Tech. I think the city almost went 5-0 last week as far as games, but Tech, they just fell behind early. They dug themselves a deep hole, 29-0 at the half, and they came out in the second half with a lot more energy, playing a lot smarter football, and they were able to get it down to a 2-score game, and then able to had a few opportunities to get it down to a 1-score game. But so it was just one of those situations where you dug yourself into too deep of a hole.
Yeah, Coach James Runner was joking with me post game that he was very angry at halftime, raising his voice, and after the game, he was all smiles because he liked the resilience from his team. His players never quit, touchdown after touchdown, and they caused a turnover or 2 or 3. So my headline read that Tech's heart was never in question, and I think that's right. Ortega had another strong game. Ethan Prum played. He was probably the player of the game on Tech's side, and nearly a 5-0 week. But again, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it was because I watching that game, and then I was like watching the film, just like it was one of those things where I don't know, nothing was going right for them in the first half. I think it had a lot to do with that fumble on their first drive, or that bad snap that caused the turnover on their first drive when they were driving down the field. I think that took a lot of their energy out, and then after that, everything didn't go as planned for them in that first half. But yeah, it was the first half they'd like to forget.
I hate to say it, but it's one of those where if there was another quarter of that game, you never know.
But it got interesting though. It got interesting. They forced 2 turnovers that were able to get them in the game, and then the last turnover they forced gave them the opportunity to try to get it to a 1-score game. And I think they had all their timeouts, or they might have had 1 timeout at the game. So it could have been interesting if they were able to get that score, but they didn't. So they'll look to bounce back. I believe it's senior night for them as well this weekend, this Saturday when they host Whittier Tech. So hopefully they bounce back and just close the season out with a strong win, and maybe we can hope they get in the postseason. But yeah, that first half, man. Oh man. Where will you be this week?
I will be at the St. Mary's game, and then we will be at Classical versus Everett. We will be at KIPP on Saturday.
All right. Yeah, I'll see you there. I'll be at Everett on Friday. I'll be there Thursday at St. Mary's. I think I'm gonna try to find somebody to get the English game for me for Friday. But Saturday I'll be there for the doubleheader.
Perfect. We'll be there, and thank you so much for having me another week, as always.
Articles we got up this week. Man, we've got some previews. We got game stories. We've got predictions. Stay tuned for Player of the Week and Team of the Week. It'll definitely be Monday and Tuesday, but watch out and try to predict from games this weekend. So, that's a little bit of what's coming. ItemLive.com or the Item every day but Sunday. We need to get like a item program here, like with Joey B with a high school football program or something like that. I ain't like that.
You'll get them. We got the Item Thanksgiving handouts coming up.
Oh, okay. I like to sound of that one. Alrighty, that's Joey B.
Copies.
Hey, see you guys.